Hello everyone, and welcome to ELFH 540, your program exit experience. During this instructional piece, I will explain how to fill out the fieldwork contract and but also how it impacts the fieldwork performance evaluation. The fieldwork contract is simply the next step in the progression of documents to be completed after your application has been approved. You must have your application approved before you can complete your contract. By now you should have worked out the details of your fieldwork experience with your workplace supervisor. This will allow you to fill out the terminal enabling objectives. Here's the fieldwork contract in its entirety. Let's talk about each individual section. This is simply where the pertinent information is filled out, the administrative type information, email address, and such. So your name, home phone, work phone, the location of your fieldwork, the name of your workplace supervisor, and her or his phone number. I need to be able to contact them if any issues arise. You also need to enter your contact hours. Depending upon the program you started in, it could be from 50 to 200 hours. Multiply by 25 the number of credit hours required in order to get your total contact hours. The completion date is when you will complete your hours at the workplace. Please enter your term, such as fall 2012. I mentioned terminal objective. That's the end result. That's the overall scheme of your fieldwork experience. But it should be written in the form of a condition, behavior, and standard. This objectives should state with no ambiguity what the end result is of your training, and on the next page shows an example taken from a Wikibooks website. So let's take a look at the example. So let's look at this terminal objective. Given appropriate community demographic data, appraise the department's human resource demographics to determine if the recruitment, selection, and placement of human resources is effective and consistent with law and current best practices. That's a pretty large terminal objective, but let's take a look at it at its component parts. First of all, the condition. Given appropriate community demographic data. This is information that you have at your disposal. The behavior is the actual work that you'll conduct. So you're going to, in this case, the behavior is appraise the department's human resource demographics. And then the standard is to determine if the recruitment, selection, and placement of human resources is effective and consistent with law and current best practices. So even though it's a large terminal objective, when you break it down into its component parts of behavior, standard, and condition, it seems to make a little more sense. And you'll be required to do this for your particular workplace experience. Let's look at the enabling objectives. The terminal objective listed the end result. The enabling objectives explain the actual work performed that allows the terminal objectives to be reached. For each enabling objective, you should list the activities required to reach that objective. You should also give a target date for the completion of these activities. This will become more important when we put together our midterm evaluation. So depending upon your contact hours, you should have between 8 and 12 enabling objectives. About half of these should be completed by the midterm evaluation. And I'll talk a little more on that when we look at that particular form. You have an approvals in the signature section. So this section, once completed, this contract is signed by me as the university coordinator or whoever your facilitator is or your instructor is for 540. Their signature is required. Obviously, your workplace signature, your workplace supervisor's signature should be applied, and dates for each one of those, and obviously your signature. This makes it a binding contract for the work that you are obligated to perform for your practicum. So when all three signatures are there, it's now a binding contract for the work that you will do on your field work experience. I mentioned the fieldwork performance evaluation form. You'll fill that out around midterm. This is going to be this will be from the same template, but there's going to be two separate documents. So let's take a look at that particular template. There again, here it is in its entirety, and let's look at the different sections. More again on pertinent information here. Obviously the student's name and the workplace supervisor's name. You'll need to circle or acknowledge whether this is the midterm or final evaluation. So like I said, there's going to be two copies of this, one for the midterm and one for the final. So you simply need to show which one this is, whether it's midterm or final. And this is the heart of the form right here. This is where you state the objectives that you had, or about half of them up to midterm that you stated in your contract. So about half of these should be completed by midterm. Here's simply where you write the objectives that you wrote from your fieldwork contract. You'll notice there's 3 areas here that it's the only thing the workplace supervisor has to do is fill in no progress to date, satisfactory progress, or superior progress from each one of those enabling objectives. And like I said, your workplace supervisor will rate your progress in that corresponding column. There is a place for comments where your supervisor can make specific comments about your performance. And then the signature line, the evaluator, which is your workplace supervisor and date, and your signature and date. So let's review. We talked about your fieldwork contract itself and how to fill out your terminal and performance objectives. And then we talked about the relationship between your fieldwork contract and your midterm or final evaluation that your workplace supervisor fills out. Each of these forms, after completion and signing, should be saved as a PDF file and uploaded to their respective Dropbox.